Okay, buckle up folks. Today on the Mysteria Archive, we take a deeper look at the Mandela Effect. Get ready for a wild ride. What if I told you the Mandela Effect is not a quirky memory glitch from the past, but something that's happening right now at an accelerating pace? In 2025, millions swore that the Statue of Liberty had always stood on Ellis Island. Only it never has. It's on Liberty Island, always has been, apparently. Or how about this? The Ford logo. Did it always have that strange curly loop in the F? Because you might remember it differently. This isn't just nostalgia gone wrong. It's as if something or someone is actively rewriting reality. And the changes? They are picking up speed. So, what's happening to our world? Yeah, the Mandela effects do seem to be happening more frequently, especially since 2022. So why is that? Well, we'll get to that later in the video. The new wave, the latest Mandela effects that have people freaking out. Forget the Berenstain Bears and Luke, I am your father. That was just the warm-up. A new wave of Mandela effects has arrived, and it's leaving even seasoned skeptics scratching their heads. Let's start with geography. People are freaking out because South America has moved. It's no longer directly beneath North America like they remember. It's now way off to the east, and Japan's shape? It's been described as too curvy or angled differently. Hundreds of people claim it looks wrong, like the entire Pacific shifted while no one was watching. Then there's human anatomy. Do you remember where your heart is? Most people would point to the left side of their chest, but now it's centered. Medical diagrams claim it's always been that way. Oh, and about your ribs. Did you know you now have floating ribs? A whole new category. They just showed up. Now let's talk logos. The Ford logo has a bizarre little squiggle in the F that many people say definitely wasn't there before. And get this, Fruit of the Loom still doesn't have a cornucopia. People are adamant it used to. Febreze has one E. Skechers lost its T. Oreo double stuff, it's spelled with one F. And then it gets weirder. Some people are noticing language changes. Phrases in books, idioms, even dictionary definitions. Words don't mean what they used to. And in pop culture, movie lines are being rewritten. People remember C-3PO being all gold, obviously, because he was all gold. But now, he has one silver leg in A New Hope. Or how about life is like a box of chocolates? Nope, now it's life was like a box of chocolates. These aren't obscure facts. They are vivid, foundational memories shared by millions. So, if these aren't just mental hiccups, who or what is behind them? Okay, so either we're all having a synchronized brain malfunction or something seriously weird is happening. I mean, South America moving, floating ribs, a squiggle in the Ford logo that looks like it was doodled by an intern. Come on. And I've had so many arguments about C-3PO's leg. Look, personally, this is a big one for me. I was at the UK opening of Star Wars back in early 1978, and C-3PO was all gold. I even had the original action figure and comics, all gold. And what about the girl in James Bond Moonraker? Look, she always had braces. That was the whole point of pairing her with the Jaws character. But apparently she never had braces. Crazy. And don't get me started on double stuff. One F? That's not double. It's barely sufficient. Okay, bad jokes aside. And if this was just a memory issue, wouldn't it stop? Why does it feel like it's accelerating? It's like reality is trying to sneak changes past us, but we're starting to catch them. The pattern. Why are Mandela effects increasing? Here's the chilling part. It's not just that Mandela effects exist. It's that they're multiplying. Every few weeks, new ones pop up, trending on TikTok, Reddit, YouTube. The frequency has increased dramatically since 2020, but why? One theory, it's the internet effect. We're more connected than ever, so we're constantly comparing memories and spotting differences. A single Reddit thread can spark a new Mandela effect overnight, but that doesn't explain everything. Others believe we're experiencing a memory leak, a bleed through between timelines. Imagine parallel realities rubbing against each other. Occasionally, a memory from timeline A slips into timeline B, and your brain remembers both. It's not your mind glitching, it's the multiverse peeking through. Then there's the idea of residual evidence. These are the crumbs left behind. VHS tapes, old books, product labels that don't match the current timeline. If these effects are just psychological, how do physical artifacts exist? So, what is more likely? Millions of people all misremembering the same details? Or evidence of a deeper, more disturbing shift in the very fabric of reality? So, either our brains are group project level lazy and just copying each other's errors, or timelines are leaking like a broken faucet. I don't know about you, but if we're living in a sci-fi crossover event, at least I'd like to see some cool powers, time jumping, super memory. But honestly, when you start noticing the pattern, it stops feeling random. Is it really a coincidence that more people are reporting this now when we're more digitally plugged in than ever before? Or is someone nudging the controls? Beyond psychology, new theories that explain the Mandela Effect. For years, skeptics chalked up the Mandela Effect to false memory, groupthink, and brain glitches. But now, new theories are emerging. And they're not just psychological, they are existential. The timeline editing hypothesis suggests something or someone is deliberately tweaking reality. Not erasing history, but editing it, like a cosmic Control-Z. Could it be future humans, a secret organization, or worse, an experiment testing how much change we'll tolerate before we notice? Then there's the AI influence theory. As AI increasingly manages data, curates content, and even corrects information online, could it be rewriting history in real time? If an AI re-indexes search results or alters archived text and no one notices, did the past just change? Now let's talk quantum consciousness. Some physicists propose that human consciousness is deeply entangled with quantum processes. As collective awareness evolves, we may be tuning into alternate timelines more frequently, like adjusting a radio dial and catching static from another frequency. And then there's CERN too. In 2022, the Large Hadron Collider was fired up again at record power levels. Since then, reports of Mandela effects have skyrocketed. Is it coincidence? Or did smashing particles tear a tiny hole in reality? All of these theories point to one terrifying possibility. Reality isn't fixed, it's fluid, and something might be stirring the waters. Okay, so either we've entered a golden age of fan theories, or reality is being edited by a sleep-deprived intern with a god complex. I love the idea that AI is rewriting the past. Like we taught it to spell check and now it's playing God. Classic overachiever move. And don't get me started on CERN. You fire up one giant particle cannon and suddenly Pikachu forgets his tail stripe. Suspicious. But honestly, these new theories aren't just wild, they feel plausible. Because at this point, oops, everyone's memory is wrong sounds like the least likely explanation. The Mandela Effect in the digital age. Are we witnessing data manipulation? Let's say you wake up tomorrow and you know you saw a certain quote in your high school textbook. You Google it. You check Wikipedia. You search online archives. Nothing. It doesn't exist anywhere. But you remember it vividly. So, here's the uncomfortable question. If the internet says it never happened, does that make your memory wrong? Or has digital history been rewritten? Welcome to the digital dimension of the Mandela Effect. Today, more than ever, our memories are challenged not by other people, but by algorithms. Google curates results based on what it thinks is relevant. Wikipedia pages can be edited by anyone. AI language models, even the ones you're listening to now, pull from ever-changing datasets. And every day, more of our reality is being stored digitally, not physically, which raises a dangerous possibility. If AI is training on outdated, biased, or altered data, it might be quietly rewriting the past. Imagine a history book that edits itself. Not once, but constantly, in real time. And now there's deepfake technology. Entire news broadcasts can be generated, altered, or erased. Photos and videos can be manipulated to prove something never happened, or that it always did. What happens when we rely entirely on digital memory, and that memory becomes unreliable? Some theorists believe this isn't just incidental. They say we're in the middle of an AI-driven reformatting of reality. And those strange memories we hold on to, they might be the only remnants of the original version. But if digital history can shift so easily, is there any physical proof that these things used to be different? Okay, so I don't know about you, but I'm starting to think my hard drive is gaslighting me. I remember things very clearly, but the internet tells me they never happened, which means one of two things. A, I'm losing my mind, or B, Google's playing 4D chess with reality. But seriously, it's unsettling. When the cloud holds the past and the cloud is editable, how do we know what's real anymore? Physical proof, strange residue that reality has shifted. If reality is changing, surely something must have been left behind. Some trace evidence, some glitch, some artifact that slipped through the cracks. Turns out, there might be. Welcome to the Mandela Effect Residue, the strange bits of reality that don't match the current version of history. Let's start with unchanged physical objects. People have reported finding old VHS tapes, books, and packaging that show what we'd now call the wrong version of reality. Berenstain Bears with an E, Fruit of the Loom logos with a cornucopia, a Febreze bottle with 2 E's. Are these counterfeit, misprints, or are they leftovers from another timeline? Then there's historical mismatches. Newspapers archived on microfilm that reference quotes or events that supposedly never happened. Home videos capturing things wrong by today's standards. Even government documents that conflict with what we're told is official history. One Reddit user even claimed they found a 1994 road atlas that showed South America directly beneath North America, where many people swear it used to be, rather than shifted far to the east. These anomalies are known as reality anchors, small tangible pieces that don't align with the new version of events. And then there are official record glitches, government archives that contain inconsistencies, dates that don't match, historical timelines that seem off by just enough to feel wrong. Of course, skeptics say these are simple errors, but believers argue they are proof that the past isn't gone, it's evolving. And sometimes it forgets to clean up after itself. But if reality is being altered, what if it isn't accidental? What if someone or something is testing how much we'll notice? Okay, let's just say it. Somewhere out there is a rogue Berenstain Bears VHS tape holding the key to the multiverse, and it's probably sitting in somebody's dusty attic. I mean, if I find a cereal box that says Fruit Loops with a UI instead of a double O, I might just open a portal with it. But seriously, physical proof is where things get interesting, because a memory can be dismissed, but a printed object, a government file, those are harder to explain away. Unless, of course, time travelers are librarians scrubbing the archives. Are Mandela effects an experiment in mass perception? Up until now, we've treated Mandela effects like side effects, unintended consequences, maybe from quantum shifts, AI glitches, or memory failures. But what if they are not accidental? What if they are engineered? Some researchers, and let's be honest, more than a few conspiracy theorists, believe we're living through an experiment in mass perception. Let's talk history for a second. The CIA's MKUltra program tried to control minds using drugs and psychological conditioning. Operation Mockingbird used media to manipulate narratives and public opinion. None of this is speculation, it's documented. So, ask yourself, if you wanted to test how easy it is to rewrite reality, wouldn't the Mandela effect be the perfect vehicle? Start small. Change a cereal box, a logo, a movie quote, and watch how people react. Then go bigger. Start altering cultural touchstones. Test the elasticity of memory. How far can you stretch perception before it snaps? And here's where social media enters the chat. Platforms like TikTok, Reddit, and Twitter are algorithmic echo chambers. An idea gains traction, real or fake, and suddenly millions of people believe it. What if some of these viral Mandela effects were planted? Not by accident, but to observe the ripple, to collect data, to test how collective memory works in the age of constant connection. Some even speculate that AI itself is the observer, analyzing our reactions, fine-tuning its next test. Because if you can convince a society that their memory is flawed, you can convince them of anything. And if that's the case, what else has already been changed without us ever realizing? Okay, so let me get this straight. First we had CIA mind experiments. Now we've got viral TikToks about Pikachu's tail. And somehow those two things might actually be connected. Yeah, this is the timeline we chose, I guess. But really, if we're running a perception test, the Mandela effect would be brilliant. Tiny shifts, huge debates, zero traceability. It's like gaslighting, but make it global. And maybe AI is behind it all. Honestly, if my toaster starts telling me my childhood was a lie, I am out. The ultimate question: have major events already been altered? Let's take a step back from logos and movie quotes. Because if the Mandela effect is real, if reality is shifting, then the changes shouldn't be limited to cereal boxes and cartoon bears. What if major historical events have already been altered? Some people claim to remember entire wars that didn't happen, or timelines where major political figures died decades earlier than they did here. There are online communities of people who vividly remember different outcomes to events like 9/11, the JFK assassination, or even the Challenger disaster. In one bizarre case, dozens of users reported remembering a US president named Thomas Whitmore, a man who never existed. At first glance, that sounds like a clear mix-up with Bill Pullman's character from Independence Day. But the memories include real policy details, cabinet members, and news reports that shouldn't exist, even in fiction. And then there's the unsettling idea of vanished places and altered geography. Some people remember the country of Ceylon, still existing today. Others say New Zealand used to be northeast of Australia, not southeast. A few even recall visiting cities that no longer appear on any map. Could these be false memories? Sure, but if smaller Mandela effects, like a squiggle in the Ford logo, can exist, why not larger scale edits? If reality is being rewritten, there's no reason to assume it's only cosmetic. So, here's the terrifying possibility. Maybe massive events have already changed. Maybe we just haven't noticed. Because in this version of reality, we were never supposed to. And that leads us to the final, most mind-bending question of all. Okay, so now we're talking full-on alternate timelines. Presidents that never existed, countries in the wrong place, historical events we swear we lived through that never apparently happened. And next thing you know, someone's going to say the moon used to be green. Let's hope not. I am emotionally committed to grey. But seriously, this is where things go from weird to what if we're the only ones who remember the old version? And if enough people don't remember it, does that version stop existing? Because now we're not just misplacing memories, we're misplacing history. The final question: are we approaching a reality shift? Here's the question no one wants to ask out loud. What happens when these small changes become big ones? If a logo can change, if human anatomy can shift, if geography and history can be rewritten without warning, then what's next? Some believe we're approaching a tipping point, a large-scale shift in consciousness, time, or reality itself. These small glitches are the preludes to a full reset, a reality rewrite so vast that everything we remember, every truth, every date, every person could be different overnight. Others say we are already in the new version, and we're just feeling the aftershocks. Maybe the Mandela effect isn't a mystery. Maybe it's a signal, a countdown, a quiet reboot of the simulation before a major update rolls out. And if that's true, then here's the most haunting question of all. If reality can be rewritten, who decides what stays and what disappears? Because one day you might wake up And everything you thought was true, your childhood, your memories, even you, could be rewritten. Without permission, without explanation, without warning. So that's fine, everything's fine. Just casually questioning the entire nature of existence, no big deal. Look, if this really is a reality rewrite, I just hope they patch flying cars in and finally fix the Monday bug. But on a serious note, if reality is changing slowly and quietly, what can we do? Well, maybe the best thing is to stay aware. Keep asking questions, keep comparing notes. Because if the entire world around us is being edited, then the only thing standing between what was and what is might be us actually noticing the difference. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this one. And let me know in the comments below of mysteries you'd like to see covered. And don't forget to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. It's free and really does help out our small channel. Okay, friends, until next time, stay curious.